Hey everybody, MrBookieboo here, and today we're going to talk about one of the most requested questions that I get, and that is, how do you build these retaining walls? So in my last video, which I have linked down below, we talked about the foundations of a city and raising it up, getting some height, getting some depth, different things of that nature. And once you do that, whether you use Lego, wood, metal legs, whatever it is to get the height, you're left with this ugly and unsightly stuff. What do you do underneath it? How do you hide it? How do you disguise the non-Lego to make it all blend together to become a cohesive Lego city? The trick that I use is these retaining walls. They're super easy to build. They're a little part intensive, but I'm going to walk you through that process and show you exactly how I do that. So let's come and take a closer look. All right, so the first thing I want to emphasize here is the key with these is modularity. It's the key with everything that I do is modularity. I'm always preaching that modular, 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 because if you need to take something apart, it's easy to do, easy to rework it, easy to fit it back in the city. So all of these walls that you see right along here, it's all modular, which gives you easy access to everything underneath here. So all I have to do is pop off this one little 2x2 brick that's actually the top of the fencing here, and then all of a sudden this whole piece pops right out. Super modular, super easy. Now you're going to notice right away too, this wall is different from the other wall that I showed you in the earlier part of the video. This one I wanted to be a little bit different. I wanted to experiment. So these are just my favorite, the burnt brick underneath here, the big ugly rock piece. Just give it a little more height. It saves a little bit on the light bluish gray brick that you actually need to build the actual retaining wall. It is just something different. I tried it. It's new. Most of my old walls, especially in the old versions of the city that you'll see, they use, this is all light bluish gray brick all the way down to the bottom. These walls are actually a little bit taller, gives me a little extra height. The reason I needed the height was for the trains. In the past, the trains were cutting it a little close, and with some of the newer trains, the pantographs and stuff on top of them, the smokestacks, whatever, I needed just a little bit more clearance. So this was a really easy and different way to get a little bit more height. And you can see on the backside, it's just a plain old burp underneath there, holding it up. And you can kind of see the structural stuff of the brick behind it. I'm actually going to walk you through this in greater detail, but keep that in mind. Modularity is a key when you're doing anything with this Lego city building, because it makes it super easy to take stuff apart. And because this is 32 standard base plate width, 32 studs, right? You can work, if you work in 32 stud increments, it makes your life a whole lot easier. So everything that you see here is basically mapped out in 32 studs for the most part. There's a couple exceptions, but for the most part, if you stay within those parameters, it makes it super easy to work with. All right, so the basics of the wall building are pretty simple. You have three key elements that I use: the 2x2 brick, the 1x2 brick, and of course the 2x2 corner brick. These three elements are basically all you need. It gives you good structure and of course some arches and other random bricks, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But these are the three core elements. They give you really good structure. It keeps everything nice and overlapped. I like to build symmetrically and to overlap the bricks so you don't have, so you have good structural integrity. So the bricks, you don't have lines in between, going up, and makes it kind of wobbly. And so what you can see here, this is actually kind of the foundation of a wall that I started to build. And you can actually see that in practice, especially if I flip it around. So everything is supported, it's interleaved, so it's really strong, it's very sturdy. You can see these are the 2x2 corner bricks, the 2x2 bricks, and then underneath these are more corner bricks, and these would be 1x2s. These are actually 1x6s right now for the bottom, but you can easily use 1x2s. And then you just kind of start building up from there. It's super easy, super effective. The bottom, you can do whatever you want. Traditionally, I would do like, these are like 2x bricks, so either 2x4s, 2x2s. Sometimes you'll see 2x6s in there, in this case right here. That's because this is actually 3 high for these thicker bricks here. It's up to you how you do that. If you want a little more height, you can cheat this up and you can go 3 high with the foundation. Sometimes I do 2, you can just do 1. It's just up to you. You can add these bump outs. So I added these slope bricks here. This makes it, it gives you a little visual interest. And if you look at a completed one, you can see how that works, how it all comes together. So it just gives you a little bit more detail. Now you'll also note inside the archway here. So these are 1x8 arches. You could easily use 1x6 arches, 1x4s. You have pieces here that are a little bit, this is a smaller type of wall. So the opening is only 2 wide for the cutout inside. This is 6 wide. There's all kinds of variations you can do. They're all built exactly the same. You can see the bricks underneath. This one actually has a dark bluish gray series of plates on the bottom just to give you a little bit of visual interest and a little differentiation versus some other stuff that I might do. But basically, that's the basics of it. Now you'll notice the interior here. You can do all kinds of different details. You can use profile bricks. These are snot bricks with tiles on top of them. You can put plants in there. There's other types of things you can do, like for example here, these are plates that are stacked on top of each other. So it's a 1x2 plate with a 1x1 plate with a stud and then another 1x2. It makes a nice 1x2 brick. And you can interleave those, and it just gives you the appearance of, you know, the walls kind of crumbling a little bit. It's an older wall. There's other examples. This is just another one that I did. You can vary it however you want. The sky's the limit, really. It's up to you what you want to come up with and what you want to do. Let's take a closer look here at some of the parts, and I'll actually show you some of the building technique here. So for example, with this wall that I just started, basically what you want to do is you just take your bricks, so in this case some 1x2s, and you're just going to stack them in here as I drop them on the floor. So you're just going to stack them in there, and then at this point you realize that you're kind of at the top, so you're going to put a 1x2 at the top, and then you're going to continue on. You're going to put some more 1x2s here, and you're going to do all the way across to finish this off. This section is going to be pretty boring right now because there's no texturing. But then once you get to the top here, you notice this is a 2x2 brick and a 1x2 brick. So to strengthen it, you're going to use the 2x2 corner just like that. And the same thing on this side. And then you're just going to repeat that process over and over. You're just going to take some more 1x2s. You're going to put them inside here like that. More 1x2s. You're going to get another 2x2 brick here, which is actually going to end up being on top of this one. So if you imagine I built this out, you're going to put the next 2x2 on top of there. You're going to need another 1x2 on the end here. And then we're back to the same thing where you can just start stacking more 1x2 bricks inside here. Super easy. And it goes pretty quick, right? See, look at how quick this is. Like I said, though, it is brick intensive, so beware. You're going to need quite a few bricks for this. I don't know exactly how many. I do know it's a lot. So you have to be patient with that or plan ahead. But you can see, there we go. There's the foundations of the wall. If you continue on in that track, you're going to end up with something that looks very similar to this. Eventually, however high you want to make it, eventually you're going to put that archway at the top. Once you have the archway, then it's up to you to figure out how you finish off the top. And there's a multitude of ways that you can do that. So, pretty basic, right? It's fun. It's fun to do. I enjoy it. It's lots of, varieties. It can be tricky to do. So if you look at some of the walls, I'll take you over to the city now and I'll show you kind of the walls throughout the city. You can see some of the variety and techniques that I tried to incorporate into the walls to make them so they're not all the same. But again, it's kind of a background feature, so you don't have to go crazy with it. You don't have to make it super elaborate. It's just designed to hide the junk underneath, whether that's your wiring, your platforms, train tracks, storage, whatever it may be. You're just kind of taking away that you want your eyes focused on the Lego city, not the stuff underneath, right? So let's take a closer look at some of the walls in the city real quick, and we'll wrap this up. So like I mentioned, variety is the name of the game here. These are the walls that are actually in my city. And you'll notice some of them are plain, like these right here. Some of them have little plants. Some of them have just different, masonry textures. The kids actually put some of these stickers on here, which I think is great. Just a little bit of graffiti and stuff, and so on. You can see all the way down the line here as we kind of move along. We'll zoom in on these over here. It's the same thing. You'll see some masonry bricks, again, with some plants. Just a little, bit here and there. That's mostly consistent, though. It's just designed to kind of give you a unified approach, a unified look, and it just brings everything together. And again, the intent is not for you to focus on these walls. The intent is for you to be focusing on the city above it. So it creates a frame. As I mentioned, it hides all the junk underneath, but it just really gives you something to focus on. Or not focus, it gives you something to frame, to focus on the city, so that it just kind of brings everything together. So I hope you found this video useful. Please make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be doing another one. I think we're going to cover electrical next, because that seems to be another hot topic. But please let me know in the comments what else you guys want to see. I'll be happy to do more and more of these tutorials, and I'll be back soon with more content. Thanks. Bye.